receiving a lot of questions about whether you need to take precautions before you get the coronavirus vaccine. Good evening and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Marcella Lee in for Barbara Lee Edwards.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Tonight, we want to answer a few of those questions that we're receiving. News 8's Brandon Lewis is in our vaccine team and explains how you should get ready to get your shot.
Now, Carlo and Marcella, in talking to a lot of the doctors, they say there's really nothing special that you need to do to get the coronavirus vaccine. Really just go about your normal routine and you should be fine. But we are going to address some of the main questions that we've been getting from viewers. There are a lot of rumors about special precautions to take when getting your coronavirus vaccine. Let's start with the most frequently asked. Painkillers. Some suggest taking them to prevent mild side effects, but doctors say it's likely best to wait until symptoms appear.
Definitely not in advance. It would only be if somebody has symptoms afterwards. And also if their symptoms aren't enough that they can just, kind of deal with it and just kind of tough it out. Because that's the best thing to do because we don't know for sure.
You'll often hear, just stick to your normal routine. There's nothing special required. You may, however, want to slightly change your exercise routine because doctors recommend avoiding it 2 hours before and after the shot since it's given into your muscle.
If you've been exercising or if you're going to go exercise, that increased heart rate that you get with cardio is going to increase your blood flow to that muscle and take it out of the muscle faster than it was originally designed to.
Much of the advice is general since the vaccines are simply so new and there aren't a lot of studies on how things like vitamins or even other medications can interact with the vaccine. As for alcohol, both Pfizer and Moderna point to FDA guidelines, which makes no mention of avoiding it. The one consensus in the medical community is to listen to your body and plan to get some rest before and after.
Somehow we know ourselves the best. And if you think you're feeling under the weather and probably shouldn't be active, then stay at rest. And if you feel I'm not quite right, but I can still do things, go do things.
Doctors say the risk of having any sort of allergic reaction to one of the vaccines is exceedingly small, single digits compared to millions of vaccines. But just in case that does happen to you, it's one of the reasons that they ask you to stick around about 15-30 minutes after getting the vaccine because they are prepared to deal with any sort of reactions. Carlo and Marcella.
All right, Brandon, thank you. The vaccine superstation at Petco Park was closed today for a third straight day because of a delayed shipment of the Moderna vaccine. But that shipment was expected to arrive sometime today. So if that's the case, the site will reopen tomorrow. That is the plan, at least. UC San Diego health officials say people who had appointments during this temporary closure, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, will be rescheduled. Despite the delay, all other county vaccination superstations are open. New numbers in from the county show just under 700 new coronavirus cases for a second day in a row. 698 new confirmed cases are being reported tonight. That's about 5 more cases than yesterday for an 8% positivity rate of the 9,000 tests. Hospitalizations continue their month-long streak of daily declines, now down to 808. The ICU count fell to 266 after peaking at 438 just a few weeks ago. 5 additional deaths were reported today. That total now stands at 3,042.
The Chula Vista City Council is meeting right now to discuss and vote on a plan to extend more pandemic relief to renters. City leaders say they consider using $16.8 million in state and federal funds to help struggling people pay rent, even back rent, and to catch up on utility bills. We'll let you know the outcome of that vote when it happens here on News 8, news8.com, and on the News 8 app.
Much of the southern and midwestern states are dealing with a major winter storm this week. Some Texans have been in the dark since Sunday.
News 8's Heather Hope spoke to a former San Diego resident and some visitors about how they are dealing with the impacts of the Texas cold snap.
And yes, we talked with the Fallbrook native and regular San Diego County visitors now dealing with the intense cold snap in Texas, wishing they could be in the warmth of sunny San Diego County.
We heard we were going to get some snow, but we didn't know it was going to be like this.
Measuring about 7 inches of snow in Austin, Texas. In Fadi El Assad's 17 years, he says he's never seen anything like this latest snowstorm.
We're really unprepared for stuff like this here. We don't have salt trucks. We don't have snow plows.
Taking the day off as a real estate agent home inspector and lead guitarist for Texas punk rock band the Riverboat Gamblers, Fadi says just getting to his car has been a struggle as it's been covered in ice.
Still I still got icicles hanging off the. They look like stalactites coming off the bottom of the car, and there's still snow on top of our cars.
Similar snow scenes all across Texas. Check out pharmacist Dr. Derek Foster in San Antonio, barely making it through the snow to get back home, where the power has been on and off again. Also in San Antonio, with no power for 30 hours.
And then about 2 a.m. is when we lost power, and we woke up just freezing cold and like, what's going on?
Connie Saniel from Fallbrook wearing a turtleneck layered with her U.S. Navy sweatshirt.
We all slept in the same bed last night and just slept with, layers and sweatshirts and blankets. And
no electricity is tough, but the worst part, she says, is no H2O, as her husband is out of state serving in the U.S. Navy.
Right now that we have power, we're like boiling snow in pots on the stove so that we have water, because we have no water either. Our pipes are frozen. And we need to flush toilets, so no showers.
One of her sons made it to the store just to find empty shelves and crowds of cold people. In Austin, award-winning travel blogger Matt Kepnes has been in the dark for days.
And as of right now, there's still no power in my part of Austin. 42% they say is powerless.
Known online as Nomadic Matt, he's being just that, bouncing from friends' houses to use their electricity.
With more snow on the way, I think I might not have power at all this week, which does impact me a lot because I work online.
Waiting this blizzard out, former San Diegans remain grateful.
We're still kind of counting our blessings, but yes, I'm very jealous for everyone in California and, not having to deal with this right now. It's a little crazy.
Heather Hope, News 8.
Thanks, Heather. Tonight, the FBI confirms it's offered the Chula Vista Police Department help with its investigation into the disappearance of Maya Millette. The 39-year-old went missing January 7th from her South Bay home. She was last seen by her husband after the two had an argument. Her family has been searching since, and police have released few details about their investigation. Now, the FBI says it is making its tools and techniques available to Chula Vista Police.
With so much uncertainty surrounding the reopening of schools, there's concern growing over children who are skipping kindergarten.
Some districts have reported a sharp decline in enrollment. In this Learning Curve report, News 8's Shannon Handy looks into the numbers and the impact experts say it can have.
Carlo and Marcella, in California, kindergarten isn't mandatory, so we're finding that a lot of families are just choosing to opt out. In San Diego Unified, for example, the largest group not enrolled this year falls in transitional kindergarten or kindergarten grade levels.
Kind of all of the options have been on the table for us.
Holly Amaya has two kids, a second grader and a 4-year-old, scheduled to start kindergarten this fall. Her hope is by then, San Diego Unified will be offering in-person classes. But with so much uncertainty, she's looking into alternatives just in case.
We've looked at, parochial schools. We've looked at private schools. She needs to be in person someplace.
While Holly is doing everything she can to ensure her daughter will have a normal kindergarten experience, other families are forgoing it altogether. As of mid-September, San Diego Unified reported a decline of 1,682 transitional kindergarten or kindergarten students this school year. That represents 2 out of 3 of all unenrolled students district-wide. The state's largest district, Los Angeles Unified, reported losing 6,000 kindergarten students.
We've seen a lot of school districts facing the same problem with drops in enrollment.
Poway Unified spokesperson Christine Pike says the district saw its biggest enrollment drop this year in kindergarten as well, with 147 fewer students compared to last year. She believes that number will be more if not for the homeschool program Poway Unified offers.
And so because we had that option for families who did not choose in person or who did not choose fully virtual, we actually were able to keep a lot of our Poway Unified students, especially the younger ages. And so our homeschool program went from maybe 3 dozen families enrolled in a normal year to 1,000.
While Poway Unified does offer in-person classes, Christine acknowledges starting kindergarten in virtual or hybrid settings isn't ideal, yet she and experts agree it's better than skipping it altogether.
The importance of kindergarten is really not just the academic portion where they're learning their words and their numbers, but the socialization process. You want all those things in place for students to have that foundation to know what to do in a classroom before they're diving into the academics.
Experts worry without kindergarten, first grade will be challenging for some kids. Now, earlier in the fall, San Diego Unified Superintendent Cindy Martin said those early grade levels are critical. She went on to encourage families to enroll their children in kindergarten, and other districts have shared that same message.
All right, Shannon, thank you. And a major milestone up in Los Angeles. Elementary schools in that county have been given the go-ahead to reopen for in-person classes as soon as this week due to dropping coronavirus rates. But the city's largest district, the state's largest district, in fact, LA Unified, will likely be closed for a while longer as its teachers union demands vaccinations for teachers before returning.